So
Go ahead.
basically, for Curtis and Sid, thank you for joining us here today. A little bit about myself here. I'm 24-year Army veteran, and Bob has been helping me for several months because he felt just very strongly about the cause that my nonprofit has, but we wanted to do something a little bit uh, I mean, in keeping with that, but basically my nonprofit tells the complete life stories of our colleagues that died while in military service to our nation. But we wanted to expand this a little bit by saying, that living veterans need to have their stories told as well. And so I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but basically what we were envisioning in a modification to our format here would be to have folks be a featured speaker to be able to talk about their own experience with their time in the service and their experience as a veteran after the service, and to be able to bring things in that help to tell that story. So, pictures of you when you were enlisting or when you were, serving, or, you know, things like that that could help to tell your story, and we would record that and then be and share that on social media, your social media as well as our own, because I think it's important that that all of our stories have the opportunity to be told and heard.
Yep. Well, my daughter worked for the Veterans Administration several years back, and she's got a doctorate in psychology, and she told me that it was one of the hardest jobs she ever had. Why? Because of suicides. There's something like at least 25 suicides a day that go on with veterans. And it's not just the young veterans, it's the older veterans who who end up when they retire, then their idle minds goes back to the struggles they had when they were in the service. And that's where a number of suicides occurs amongst older people. That's what my daughter was telling me. So she said it's one of the hardest jobs she ever had. Um, I also think that part of the problem with the Veterans Administration, all candor, is that it kind of runs with tunnel vision. You know, the, it's procedural versus reality, and that becomes a problem itself. She was explaining how it's so structured that it doesn't allow the veteran to really speak about what their trials and tribulations were about having been in the service. So, I mean, we're always learning, right? So let's hear from both Sid. Sid, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I joined the Navy in 2010. I only served one term. I really enjoyed my rate and my time in service. I was a mass communication specialist, so I got the opportunity to experience close enough different rates and different jobs without necessarily have to endure the not so good parts of each rate. So that was really fun, and I learned a ton. I come from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So joining the military for me was really eye-opening.
Mhm.
And it allowed me to connect and to meet so many people from all over the country, and even from all over the world, because there were so many people in the service trying to serve kind of trying to proving themselves that they really wanted to become American citizens, that they really wanted to serve the land that they call home now. And it was, I enjoyed it so much. And since I got out, I've been trying to give back and connect with more veterans, because I know that it's very easy to hear all the, not easy, but it's very common to hear all the negative side of joining the military, and all the negative side of having to do X, Y, or Z. But people don't, people forget the camaraderie and the good times that you actually get, and the relationship that you actually get to have and to foster. Like right now, I feel like most of my best friends are people that I haven't seen in years, but we might have spent 1 or 2 years working together, and that brought us closer than many other people that I've seen every day. So,
I love it. Well,
yep.
thank you for your service.
Thank you.
But when I was in the Navy, it was dogs and sailors keep off the grass. I was in during Vietnam days,
Okay.
and military people were not appreciated. In fact, they were disliked.
Yeah. Oh yes.
So, let's hear from Curtis. Why don't you tell us your story?
Okay, sure. Good afternoon again, everybody. Thank you all for your service. Like Dennis, Army vet. I served 6 years active Army. I was with the 1st Cav, 2nd SIG support. And on my second tour to Afghanistan, we got hit with an IED. And when we got hit, first we went to Germany. I was patched up in Germany for 6 months, and then shipped back to the States, only to find out that that's the end of your career. So medically discharged. Since then, that was in 2016. So it's been an 8-year battle getting to 100% benefits, which is still not quite 100%. I actually went to a dental appointment yesterday and found out that even at 100%, I'm not approved for dental. So I have to go sign up for, Union Concordia dental service, which I'm like, okay, it's been 8 years. You guys never told me I had to go get X, Y, or Z. And I think that's the problem that a lot of vets run into, is now that we're in this space as a civilian, we don't know the map.
Yep.
You go to one spot, and that's what civilian thinks is the VA is a one-stop shop initially, and I'm gonna walk through that door and get squared away, but that's not the case. So backing up a little bit, when I did get out, well, first off, let me back up. My fiance, she had stage 4 acute lymphatic cancer, and upon her diagnosis, I was already in a dark spot, knowing the outcome of a stage 4 cancer. And so, that being the case, when she passed away, I was in a dark spot and couldn't function. And so we lost the house. I had assumed all of her medical bills outside of my insurance. And I became a homeless vet for 8 months.
Wow.
So I know what it's like to lose it all. Yeah. And walk the streets, and then actually walk through the door of the VA, and they say, we got nothing for this particular subset of your life. However, if you re-enlist, there are things that you can qualify for at 10 years beyond. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you're not going to give me time to grieve. You're not going to give me a solution to help me get over the traumatic of losing my loved one. And on top of that, you guys are basically just, it's like you said, they're ear candy. They tell you a lot of great things. Do I regret my military service like Sid? Absolutely not. Miss it. I wish I never had gotten injured and wish I'd never gotten out. But God had a path for me anyway. But I do have to be honest, all those great promises when we went and took that oath down in Metz, the promises are right out the door the moment you put these on. You take that camo off, and you do become another number. And that's why, and I'll back up your stats a little bit more there, Bob. I had a conversation with General Petraeus 2 months ago. He's a good friend of mine. I served under him when I was an E3, and we had a talk. He said, let me tell you something, chap, because now I'm a retired chaplain as well. He said, let me tell you something, chap. The numbers from the VA are lies. And I said, would you go on record saying that? No. He said, but I'll tell you how they finagle the numbers. He said the numbers aren't initially, the big number out there was 22 a day committing suicide. He said it's not. He said that number is more like double.
You know,
And the reason is,
not to interrupt, but I've had other veterans say the same thing. There's a lot more than the 22, 25 a day. Interesting.
And it's starting to leak now. No, you're fine, brother. You're fine. But you're right. The number's about 40 and the information is starting to leak out. And he also told me the true numbers on homelessness. So the number with suicides is actually more as 40 per day because they don't want to startle the public. If the general American public knew that 40 vets a day were taking their life, they would freak out and heads would roll. And they don't want that. So what they do is, if I go join a civil service patrol, such as a police officer, EMT, first responder, what have you, if I then therefore check out, take my life, they don't report that as a veteran suicide. They report that as a suicide by an EMT, a paramedic, or whomever. And the public says, oh man, their job is stressful too. Not their whole career, military to civilian, was stressful. They box it and they segment it. You know, and the same as Petraeus told me, he said there's 100,000 homeless vets, not 38,000. And I called the VA out. I've been kicked off Capitol Hill twice. I've called the VA out twice and said, okay, what's the real number? And for 4 years, you can look this up out of their publications from the Veterans Administration, they've said 38,000 vets are homeless. But in between then, they've said we've put 38,000 in permanent housing. I'm like, so wait, you have a 100% turnaround and then a 100% fall off? It can't be 38,000 on both ends of the spectrum every year. And so Terrence Hayes, who is now White House Public Affairs Communications Director for the VA, actually kicked me out of his office for calling him out. And I have it in black and white. But
where are you located?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, this is, you know, and I hear you. I think we all hear you. The difficulties, and how they report stuff. And this is what my daughter was saying too. So it's something, I don't know if it'll ever get corrected, but at least if you are not combating it, so to speak, of what, and trying to bring reality back in, that's our job, is to bring reality back in. Right, Dennis? Would you say that?
I mean, that's what I want to do, is to tell the truth and tell the stories. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I started the nonprofit almost exactly 5 years ago was because there are so many stories that get just forgotten, that are untold. I mean, I'm very thankful that you have a handful of situations where we have the national attention. The Pat Tillman Foundation comes to mind, and a few others like that. But the vast majority of these stories outside of the family and small circle of friends are forgotten. And that was backed up by research by USU's, the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences, which has been conducting a series of longitudinal studies on military survivor grief. And you know, that came out of one of their studies, that 1 to 2 years after the loss of a service member, that the family has a sense that they've been forgotten, that their sacrifice is no longer honored, and I just didn't feel okay with that. And so I wanted to do what I could do to make a difference in those lives and those families. And so that's why, you know, I've dedicated to working with those families, working with whoever is willing to come alongside me, and to tell the full story. You know, we have our first book out. It's the story of a sailor, a Navy man, who was born in the Philippines. He served time in the Philippine Army. He joined the U.S. Navy at his father's behest to make a better life for himself and his future family. He found a wife in the Philippines after he joined the U.S. Navy, served 18 and a half years as a machinist mate, primarily on aircraft carriers, and in October of '98 was lost at sea off the deck of the USS Kitty Hawk. And so he left behind a wife and 3 small children. And there's a whole other, there's lots and lots and lots of things that need to change in our society and how we treat people. And here's something that I wasn't aware of until I started doing this. There's a reason why the vast majority of Gold Star wives or Gold Star widows remain unmarried for the rest of their life. And that's because the moment they remarry, they lose all their benefits. So we are, by the structure of our system, we are creating a huge disincentive to women to move on with their lives.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had left behind a wife and 3 small children, and 20 odd years later, those kids were trying to piece their father's story together and weren't getting very far because the older adults were saying, "Oh, it's been so long ago," and such. But when we got involved and refocused, all but one of those adults agreed to participate, and I was able to find another veteran who's an Air Force Academy grad, had been a criminal investigator for the Air Force during his time on active duty, and had authored 2 other books previously, who agreed to do the writing for us. And so we've completed that. But we're still not finished. We are going to be presenting that book to the family on the deck of the USS Midway on August 10th in San Diego. He was assigned to that ship twice during his career. And we want to be able to tell the story through video, because let's face it, we're a video centered world instead of a book centered world. And we've got 44 hours worth of footage of interviews and family videos, and the memorial service that the Navy provided for him. But I don't have the resources to create documentary videos at this time. So, we're still very much in the infancy of where we want to go, but I want to be able to do this for any Gold Star family that wants their loved one story to be told. But I also recognize that there's a benefit to veterans, living veterans, because when I talk to the veterans that knew the fallen, and we do the interview process, there is a therapeutic benefit to that person for having that conversation with me and being able to share about that person who they're still mourning in many cases, who they are memorializing, who they are paying honor and tribute to. And so I offer that to veterans as well, independent of doing the full story, to say, hey, if you had experienced a loss of a friend, a colleague, let us provide a platform for you to tell that story and to pay tribute to that person. So that's kind of where we're at currently, and looking for folks that want to partner with us or who we can serve. That's kind of where my heart is. I'm 60, I'll be 68 here in a few months, and still able to get around and do a lot of things. And this is what I intend to spend my time and energy and effort on for as long as God gives me that ability to do so.
I love it. I love it. Appreciate it. You know what? And it's, you and I come from the same mentality. It's I used to run a veterans group years ago that had a very, very large attendance to it. I used to run the Christmas parties at the VA in West Los Angeles. And, you know, my dad was a vet. Um, my brother is a veteran. And, you know, just to be able to tell people back in our day, like I said, it was dogs and sailors keep off the grass. Now it's thank you for your service.
Mhm.
And I'm still, after all these years, 50 years ago, I'm still not used to people saying thank you for your service. It's just it's crazy, right? It gets beat into you, and then you can't get it out of your system. So you know what, Sid and Curtis, thank you for your service. Dennis, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
service. It means a
Absolutely.
lot. It means a lot, you know. So
It does. And there's hope, you know, like little by little, we gotta
yeah,
think things will progress, and
Mhm.
all we can do it's be that little grain of sand, if you want to call it, and try to help as many veterans as we can.
Sid, what are you doing now?
I currently do investments and financial planning. I live in Tennessee, but I work with Northwestern Mutual, so we
Great
work
company.
in all different states. Yep.
Great company.
I was working with Trajector before. So we did help a lot of veterans, and they helped me also
Okay.
to get my medical information in order so that the VA would actually help
Cool.
me. Um,
Which
so
which part
yeah,
of
go ahead.
Tennessee? Because I'm just north of Nashville in a little town called White House.
Yeah, I'm in Nashville. I mean, in Knoxville. Sorry, I'm in Knoxville.
Knoxville. Okay.
Mhm.
It's a few
Yep,
hours drive away, but it's still
it's about
still
yeah,
within.
Hey, Sid,
yeah,
join me
yes.
on LinkedIn.
I will. I will.
Okay.
And your name is
So,
Bob. Okay.
so
Okay.
it's
Cool.
under Karen Caryn and Bob Friedenthal.
Okay.
And yeah, my name's spelled, last name's there, but it's under LinkedIn. I'm under both my wife and myself.
We'll do.
So
We'll do.
yeah, I've been a LinkedIn consultant for well over 20 years. So, and I definitely appreciate people that are with Northwestern Mutual. It's a very, very substantial company. And I'll tell you what, is there a particular reason that you came to this group meeting?
So I met with Dennis a couple months ago. I explained to him the same as I was mentioning.
That's
I
right.
really want to help veterans. I'm a veteran. I really want to help. And in Trajector, I had the opportunity to help veterans. But as I went up and got promoted, which we all want to do, I felt like I was losing that connection. And being a financial planner, a financial advisor, it definitely gives me that opportunity to help not only veterans, but people in general to get their affairs in orders in all aspects of life, and try to look at life in a little bit of a positive outlook, because there's just too much bad and ugly around us to just roll on it all the time. So
Especially nowadays. I mean,
yep, yes, sir.
you know, I'm addicted to watching the Israeli, Hamas war going on.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse, So
Hmm.
Mhm.
always about a payback and how do you help? And,
Yes, sir.
I run other networking groups as well. And that came up as a subject today. It came up, the veterans came up as a group discussion. So Curtis, tell us, who's your client?
All right, I had to
Are you
unmute
talking to
there.
me or to Curtis? Okay, sorry. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
No. Well, my client is humanity. There are different subsects of humanity. Professionally, the majority of my clients are veterans, but just anybody who needs that helping hand, or that word from God, or that prayer, or that hug, or that meal. It's humanity. I take more offense in the fact that veterans are starving and veterans are dying, and veterans are homeless. So I make it my daily passion, 12 hours a day to focus on such. So those are mine. And that's why, to go to the question that you asked, Sid, that's why I joined this meeting, learning that Dennis had that passion to assist the families of the fallen and to also help our brothers and sisters before they become the fallen.
You bet.
So yeah, that's my client.
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's interesting when you start talking to people and they say who they are and what they're doing. The way that you grow, this is my belief, the way that you grow groups, grow people is through relationships. And right here, we've got a nice little cadre of people that have the power of our relationships. So I'd love for you all to attend this meeting again. We do it once a week. We do it for an hour. And then we create camaraderie. And we want to hear what you like and you dislike too, because if we can address that, that's what I did in my meeting this morning. That the group that I was at this morning, I started that group 5 years ago. And we used to meet in person. And then, of course, COVID comes along, then we went to Zoom. But we have a consistent group of 15 to 25 people show up every single solitary week. And today, one of the things that I brought up, what's your pain? Where are you experiencing pain? And we started talking about that. And oh my God, it was got a barking dog here. It was so enlightening hearing, you know, where people are feeling pain. And I think we're seeing an acceleration of it because of what's going on in Israel. That people are scared, people are worried about the economy and all these things. And Sid, are you here experiencing that in what you do?
We do. There's a lot of discomfort. There's a lot of confusion with like the market and the change in politics and everything going around us. So that's one of the many reasons why I enjoy what I'm doing now. It's like we get to be that sounding board for people and try to help them out to understand that things will get stable of one way or another, and all we can do it's really try to get our affairs in order and and trust that we are doing everything that we need to provide and to protect ourselves and the families we have and the people that we can affect.
I certainly appreciate you. You know, I was 19 years old when I got my New York Life policy. It was called a 20-year whole life policy. And I still have that policy. I still have that policy. So I'm 75 now, right? And it's, you know, for other people, it's having something like this that you carry forward. Even my insurance agent, my New York Life agent, passed away many years ago, but I've never gotten rid of that policy, and it's paid me better than many of the investments that I've made. And that tells you something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And New York Life is the same way. They're you know, the grassroots, their foundation is good. How long has New York Life been around?
I don't know, a long time.
Long time. Sid, look it up. Something you
New York Life, I'm not sure. I know Northwestern has been up for 187.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
say Northwestern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Hey, I'm glad that you have a competitor that has served you well too. So let's take credit where credit is due.
Oh my God. That's
yeah,
called
that's
football. Yeah. So, okay. What feedback? What are you liking and disliking about, in all honesty, what do you like and dislike about what you're hearing about this group?
I'll
I like
answer.
the oh, sorry, go ahead. My
No,
bad.
please sit. No, please, ladies first.
Oh, I love the making community and having community amongst veterans, and hopefully we can get this to grow even more. Um, it is hard to be in a place where you don't know people, or sometimes where they just don't understand the things you've lived through, and you don't feel comfortable talking about it.
So
So it feels really good to know and to see other people who who have like similar interests and similar experiences than we have.
mhm.
well, nothing speaks louder than pain, right? And we've all experienced pleasure and pain. The pain tends to stand out more than the pleasure does, right?
Right.
And that's what my daughter experienced working for the VA. It was a very, very painful experience. She had to move on. She just couldn't handle it. But we as veterans, we're special people. I think you all agree. If we can, I have this thing. If you don't have something funny to say, better to keep your mouth shut. But
No,
yeah,
I agree.
and I'm so pleased that the two of you came to our meeting.
Right.
We've been trying to get this group underway for a little while now. And I think we're starting to hit what I call the golden nuggets.
I have a question. Would either of you be willing to come back and be a featured guest speaker and be the center of talking about, getting into details about your service and about your experience and what that's meant to you, that we could record and put out on social media?
Right. So I'll answer. I don't know if you both saw Sid put a note up there. She had to drop. She had a call.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
So yeah. I never mind sharing my story. Our testament is medicine for somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll jump back to Bob's question as far as likes and dislikes. The only dislike I have is that people stood you up. I don't like when people stand me up, so I don't like when they stand others up. So when we meet these individuals, we'll have them drop in a front lean rest position, and we will have them sound off on the push-up exercise. No, but I piggyback off of Sid's comment. This is nothing new for me. The camaraderie, the easy flow of conversation between veterans, this works. Like her, I pray that it gets bigger, because this kind of medicinal, non-prescription therapy is needed in our demographic as equally as others. I never put us in a hierarchy, but we are a different subsect and a different way of life. But I do hope that it grows. I hope that the legacies of the stories are encapsulated to last for generations. So yeah, no, but again, to your question, Dennis, I never mind sharing my story. Obviously, as I said, I work 12 hours a day. I am battling everything from the White House all the way down to the fake veteran service organizations out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty task heavy on my own schedule, but I always find time at some point or another. I don't make connections and then disappear for 5 years. You're going to see me again.
Good.
But
I
yeah,
appreciate that.
so
So I would love to have you be our featured speaker next week, and then we can set this sort of as a sort of an expectation for future, and invite others. I'll continue to invite others, but the idea being that we want to honor you, We want to hear your story and bring in anything that helps you to do that. So if you've got, photos, you've got, I don't know, anything, that if you've got any, PowerPoint presentations, anything like that, that I don't, we all experience death by PowerPoint and in the military. I'm not wanting to recreate that, but I also don't want to have that be excluded either, if that helps you to tell your story. So whatever that would include, and we I guess we have about an hour's time that we set aside for this. If it takes that long to tell the story, that's fabulous. If it takes less than that, that's great too. But I want to get us started to be able to say, hey, Curtis, that I want to know you. I want to know your story and your story of service and after the service, and this is what it is, and have it something that we can then share, like I said, with other, through all of our different social media platforms, etc., so that others can hear your story and maybe connect with you, and maybe they get inspired by what you're doing, or say, hey, I've got an idea for you, or something like that, so we can be more than simply a focused networking group.
Yeah, I totally.
So it can't be next Friday. Next Friday is my board meeting.
Okay.
We have our board meeting every first Friday of the month. I'm definitely tied up with our board meeting, especially with our planning of our annual gala. So
how about the Friday after that?
Yeah, but you guys do this I was going to say, if you guys do it every week, we might be able to look at the 10th right now.
Yes.
You can use the same link for today's meeting. For the other meetings,
that would be the 10th.
Same link. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm trying to message Sid right now, so that we can get to another level with this group. And then the other thing we certainly want to do is look for other veterans to join this group, or even thinking of it a little bit differently, other people that could do payback to the veterans. It's like the guy that was in my meeting this morning. He runs a veterans group, but he's not a vet. Kind of interesting, isn't it? So however we can help other people.
Copy.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely circle back in about 2 weeks. Yeah, just not next week. Next week I'm hammered. I've been pulling this calendar up, and next week alone I've got over 31 meetings. So
Wow. Wow, this is good stuff.
So that's the deal. Yeah,
the best meeting.
I do have photos and stuff like that. Go.
Sounds great.
I didn't hear you there, Bob.
Are you on LinkedIn, Curtis?
Yes, he said he is. So that's probably how we got invited, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'll send you a message as well to connect with me.
Okay.
All right,
Sounds good to me.
Good stuff, man.
All right. Wonderful.
All right. I appreciate you guys. Keep shining your light.
Amen.
Yeah, only up from here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Curtis, I don't know if you can copy the stuff that's in the chat. I'm going to put my contact information in there for you with all the various different places that our social media, etc., are, as well as if you ever want to set up a one-on-one conversation with me, how to do that. So if this is for your reference there, if you want it.
Okay, copy. Um, oh yeah, I see it right here. Okay, and I just screenshot it. Yeah, I just screenshotted all of this. So I
Okay.
got Bob's info. I see my city, and then I see your info, Dennis. So good to
Right.
go.
Cool.
Good stuff.
All right. Yeah, I was going to say I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. So I guess we'll wrap up a little
Be well.
early here today.
Yep.
And thank you all, and you all have a great weekend. And thanks, Bob, again for hosting this. And we'll chat soon.
You got a deal.
All right. Bye now.
Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
You too.
All right, out here.
Bye.
Do you want to go get showered before he leaves?